Aloha, welcome to Kensho Quest. We're going to share why we personally do not fly carry-on only. It's all his fault, actually. Well, it comes down to the numbers. Our family is preparing for our next international trip. We're headed to Phuket, Thailand. We've been sharing some of what we're packing for long-term travel. I thought it's a good time to pause and explain why we won't be flying carry-on only. First, we're going to give you some general reasons why we like to check luggage when we travel. Then we're going to get down into the nitty-gritty numbers, size restrictions, weight restrictions for carry-on bags, what I'd actually be able to pack if I were going to pack in just a carry-on only, and what I'd have to leave behind.
1, 2, 3,
Aloha!
We are Kensho Quest.
We travel to open our minds and our hearts.
Let's make friends around the world!
First up, we're talking about international travel. So in addition to the size restriction of a bag you bring into the cabin of the airplane, there may also be a weight restriction. Perhaps 7 kilograms, which is roughly 15.4 pounds, and we'll look at an example of exactly what you could pack that would weigh 7 kilograms. And yes, some of the airlines do actually check. For instance, when you line up for an AirAsia flight, it's common that you pass by one of the flight attendants and they have a little bin that's the correct dimensions for a carry-on item, and it's also a scale. So they have you place the bag down in there to make sure it fits inside and to check the weight. It's going to depend what type of bag you're wearing. If you have a small backpack, they might let you through. If you have a rolling suitcase, they are going to be checking that. So it's not as easy as, oh, just sneak a little extra weight in. You better be ready because you don't want to be paying last-minute excess baggage fees as you board your plane. Another reason is that it is long-term travel. So say a family was going on a vacation for 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, sure, we'd pack carry-on only. If I was going for a weekend getaway, maybe a 1-week trip, I'd even challenge myself to do extreme purse packing and pack all of my belongings in just a purse. But we are talking about long-term, so that means 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year. Last time our family was traveling full-time for 10 months, so we're talking long-term here. Another reason is that we're slow travelers. We tend to stay a month in one city before moving on to another destination. We're not in a hurry trying to see 3 countries in 1 week. We're not super eager to be the first ones off the plane or the first ones to get out of the airport. We don't mind sitting back, letting the other passengers off first, and then going and waiting at the baggage claim for our bags. It gives us a chance to take the kids to the bathroom, to situate ourselves, and get all ready to get in a big taxi and head to where we'll be staying. Where we stay when we travel is another big factor. We tend to rent Airbnb apartment rentals for a month at a time. We get a nice discount that way. We have another video with tips on renting Airbnb rentals. So we bring more items with us because of that. We know we are going to be cooking a lot of our food. I'm going to be washing a lot of our laundry. We're going to be supplying our own cleaning supplies, toiletries. So it's quite different than if you were going on a vacation and staying in a hotel, using room service for food, or going out to restaurants all the time, having your clothes cleaned through the laundry service, and having things like shampoo, conditioner, and soap supplied. Also, back in our backpacking days in Southeast Asia, we often used the laundry services, and they were relatively cheap. We would just send our clothes to those. Now that we pack a lot of merino wool travel clothes, I wouldn't really trust sending that to a laundry service. They might wash it on hot. It might come back smelling like fabric softener. So I will be washing our clothes, and I want to be prepared for that. Next up, and maybe most importantly, we carry camera gear, and it's heavy. George's camera backpack alone weighs 9 kilograms, and he's reduced the camera gear since our last trip. We're not taking a drone this time since we weren't really even able to use it on our last trip. So technically, his camera bag is already over the weight allotment of 7 kilograms total for one person's carry-on luggage on an airline like AirAsia. So being that he's already overweight, I guess he doesn't get to pack any clothes or toiletries. Next up, we have kids. You saw our baby in the intro. We have 3 kids total, 7 years old, 3 years old, and 6 months old. They haven't stopped us from traveling. We traveled long term with our first when he was 1 to 2 years old. We did it again when our second was 1 to 2 years old, and we're headed out again when our baby is 7 months old. So our kids don't stop us from traveling, but they do influence how we pack. especially when you're talking about carry-on baggage. You're gonna have to carry that all onto the plane. You may be carrying it through the airport. You've got to load it up into the overhead bins when you get on the plane. And we've got 2 adults and 3 kids. Who's doing the lifting? The adults. Plus, I'm always wearing baby or toddler and a carrier on me when we board the plane, so it's kind of hard to be juggling multiple pieces of carry-on baggage. Which brings us to the next reason. It's less stressful to check in some bags. Back when we were traveling as a family of 3, we did have our stuff packed into Osprey backpacks that could be used as carry-on bags. But after too many trips lugging heavy stuff onto the airplane, my husband realized it would just be easier to check the bag. Bring fewer things on with us, we'd be less likely to forget items like our kids' shoes or blanket on the airplane, and just make the whole trip a lot easier. So now we like to check in as much as possible, lighten our load, be easier getting through the airport, easier time getting onto the plane, and more likely we bring everything back off the plane with us. Next up, we use many reusable and many non-toxic items. For example, our family uses cloth napkins that we can wash and use time and time again. My baby wears cloth diapers, which I wash and use even while we're traveling. And also we choose many non-toxic items for our family. So yes, maybe you could just use the cookware provided in an Airbnb, or if they happen to have shampoo in the bathroom. But we are very particular about the ingredients and the products we use and the food we eat, and because of that, we like to bring some of our own items along because we know what's in them, we know they work for us, and so it's worth it for us to pack them. Now let's break down the numbers. For this example, we're going to be using AirAsia. Now the reason for that is that our family travels extensively in Southeast Asia, and AirAsia has a lot of flights in that area. Now for me personally, when I really wanted us to be able to travel carry-on only, my motivation was I did not want to pay the checked baggage fees because AirAsia does not even give you 1 checked bag for free. You have to pay even for your first checked bag. So I thought, man, if our family could only travel carry-on only, we wouldn't have to be paying these checked baggage fees. However, AirAsia's requirements for cabbage baggage are pretty darn strict. So we're going to go through a scenario and see what that would really mean. Under AirAsia's cabin baggage policy, you are allowed to bring on board 2 pieces of bags as part of your cabin baggage allowance, with a total weight of both items not exceeding 7 kilograms. Because that weight limit is a total one, it's kind of unrealistic to bring a cabin bag plus a personal item, because as you'll see, even one of those is already going to hit the 7 kilos. An individual 1 piece of cabin baggage must not exceed 56 centimeters by 36 centimeters by 23 centimeters. That equates to 22 inches by 14 inches by 9 inches, including the handles and the wheels and any side pocket. So the size is about the same as what it would be on some domestic flights within the USA. But on a domestic flight, they're probably not going to weigh your bag. Let's get into the example. First, I'm going to show you a rolling carry-on bag. Those are popular these days. They're easy to maneuver. You don't have to worry about carrying the weight on your back. However, if you're taking a carry-on bag that's a rolling suitcase, a flight like AirAsia is most likely to check the weight, so you need to be within that weight limit. Let's take a look at what I would be able to pack if I was going to pack carry-on only. My first example is going to be this 21-inch rolling suitcase. This alone, when it's empty, weighs 2.7 kilograms. So that's already 2.7 out of our 7 total. The dimensions on this are correct to count as carry-on baggage for an airline such as AirAsia. Starting with my first essential item, I would definitely bring my laptop and charger for traveling. Now that I've added the laptop and charger, the total weight is at 3.95 kilos. Up next, I would bring a simple crossbody clutch, and that's because if I'm going to be packing in a rolling suitcase like this, I'm not going to take it out with me every day, say if I'm just going sightseeing. Instead, I would bring a small clutch that I can wear crossbody style for my essentials. I would have my passport in it. I don't have that on me right now since I'm in the process of getting a Thai visa. I would pack my phone in it, our Osmo Pocket video camera that we take for getting videos of our kids. I would need my phone charger as well. A pen. I have some little alcohol wipes for sanitizing on the airplane. This is just what I carry cash in. It's very lightweight. I do have some debit cards in there as well. So this would be my everyday bag that I would take out and about with me. The main part of this Lily Jade clutch is pretty lightweight. It does have this kind of chain on the straps, so I suppose you could find a slightly less heavy clutch than this one. I'm going to pack this clutch right here. Now that I've added the clutch with essentials in it, the total weight is at 4.75 kilograms. Up next, I would pack some basic toiletries. I have these in a little petite crown wet bag, so this is waterproof. Now this really goes with our style of traveling. We rent Airbnb apartment rentals, so we supply our own toiletries. It might be different if you were staying in a hotel and they were supplying you things like shampoo or conditioner. I have a little mini brush in there. That's going to be pretty essential for me. A travel razor. I'll link some of these below if I can find links to them. Some tooth powder. This is actually pretty lightweight, and I think this tooth powder would last me longer than toothpaste. Plus, I'd be packing all solid travel toiletries because that way I don't have to worry about the liquids restrictions when doing carry-on only. I have some Dr. Bronner's unscented soap. This is important to me because I'm highly sensitive to fragrances. So say if an Airbnb did supply something, I may not be able to use it. I need my own unscented soap. For a short trip, I could just cut off a piece of this or take a smaller bar of soap, but we are long-term travelers, traveling months at a time, so it would be worth it to take a full bar of soap. This just has a bamboo toothbrush. I would normally put that with a little cap on as well. Got a brand new one ready to go. In here, in this waterproof bag, I have some Etique minis. So this is one way to make the toiletries a bit lighter, is to use mini versions. I have these in case we do some shorter side trips. This is how I pack them. So this deep green is a face cleaner. Then I have a little mini solid shampoo. And this is a mini of the Tone It Down conditioner. And this is another waterproof bag. So ideally they'd be in separate things, but if I let them dry a bit, then I could put them back into this. Pack everything up into my little mini toiletries bag. Of course, which specific toiletries you like to carry are going to vary, and so the weight on them is going to vary a bit as well. But for me personally, these would be basics. I would want to be able to brush my teeth, brush my hair. This one I'm going to stick over in this side. Now that I've added in my toiletries bag, the total weight is at 5.30 kilograms. At this point, I'm going to add in my clothes. I know when a lot of people pack, the very first thing they pack is clothes. However, for me, I realized that's really not the essentials to be able to pack one more outfit. I really need things like my laptop, my toiletries. Those come first, and then clothes. So I have two packing cubes here. This is a small e-bags packing cube. In this one, right on top, I have a merino wool dress. This is just a sleeveless, like tank top style dress. We do travel in hot weather. Then I have an outfit here. This is a really thin, lightweight, long skirt, along with a short sleeve wool shirt to go with it. Here I have a wool silk tank top and a pair of wool shorts. So that this is like my one pajama outfit here. I have two pairs of wool underwear and one very thin, lightweight wool bra to go with the two outfits in here. So that's two outfits that I would actually wear out and about. The pajamas would just be for at our accommodation. I can pack that over here on this side. This is a Cotopaxi packing cube. These are really cool because they're made with remnant or scrap fabric. These are just pieces of fabric left over from bigger production runs and then kind of pieced together in these different colorful, unique ways. So in here I have a much thicker, bulkier skirt that's going to keep me warmer, and I have a long sleeve merino wool shirt and one more pair of wool blend underwear. So this is like my warm outfit if I need something long sleeve and warmer. I can pack this one over on this side. Now technically I could pack all of this just on this one side of the suitcase, but that was making the weight very imbalanced. It was hard to even weigh it like that. I think practically it would be better to pack the bottom half of the suitcase, leaving this top empty. Now that I've packed in the clothes, our total weight is at 6.90 kilograms. So we are right about at that 7 kilogram mark. I tried to add in some little lightweight things and it was making it go over 7 kilos. So this is realistic, what I could fit in this particular type of suitcase for taking as a carry-on on a flight like AirAsia that allows 7 kilogram limit for a carry-on bag, and you can see this is kind of ridiculous. I have a half full suitcase. So yes, space-wise, I could fit more in, but weight-wise, I am pretty much at the max here, so that's all I could take. It really would not make sense to be packing this way for long-term travel. So I'm going to show you 2 other options of bags I could use instead that are a bit lighter weight, which would allow me to pack more inside. This is the Osprey Farpoint 40 liter. It's a pretty popular option for people doing a little bit more backpacker style traveling. It can be used different ways. You can put a crossbody type messenger strap onto it. You could carry it on this handle, or back here you could untuck the backpack straps and wear it as a backpack. It is the dimensions to be a carry-on item. Completely empty, this Osprey backpack weighs 1.4 kilograms, which is roughly 3.1 pounds. So by having a lighter weight bag, that would allow me to pack more inside. Let's start by packing the items I already packed in the rolling suitcase. So now all packed up with those exact same items I packed in the rolling suitcase, it's weighing in at 5.5 kilograms, which means I get to add in some extra items. In this shoe bag, I have a thin pair of minimalist sandals. These are my Earth Runner Circada sandals, so I can put those in. I would also bring a really thin, lightweight Pashtimal towel. This is great to use as a beach towel, or if you're staying somewhere like a hostel that doesn't provide a towel, or even at an Airbnb, sometimes you need an extra one. I can also add in my sun hat, that barely weighs anything anyways. I could also bring my swimsuit. Mine is a little on the heavy side as far as swimsuits go, but that's just the style I like. Our destination is Phuket, Thailand, so it definitely makes sense to be bringing items like a swimsuit. I learned it as a kid, you should always pack a swimsuit because you never know, there may be a swimming pool where you're going. I would also bring my Reef Safe sunscreen. Both Hawaii and Thailand have banned sunscreens containing certain chemicals that harm the coral reefs. So these are safe ones. This is Raw Love and Little Hands. These are pastes, so they fall under the restrictions for liquids, gels, pastes, aerosols, that each one should be under 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters, and they should be packed in a clear quart-sized bag. So I would pack these separate from my solid toiletries, right on top where it's easy to access when I go through security. And I would be adding in my Hydro Flask tumbler, which to me is essential. I do travel with this. I use it when I'm getting bubble teas or smoothies, or if I just want to be able to refill a water bottle to avoid all the waste of buying multiple plastic water bottles and throwing them away. So this backpack is not entirely stuffed full. Space-wise, it does have a little bit more room in it, but this is about all I would be able to pack for carry-on only. At this point, it's weighing in at 6.95 kilograms, so it's right about at that 7 kilogram limit. My third example is this Logan Lenora Weekender bag. This is the lightest out of these bags. It weighs 0.65 kilograms, which is about 1.4 pounds. The dimensions on this, I think height-wise, make it technically a little bit taller than is allowed for an international carry-on. However, this is a very squishable bag, so if I had to put it into the contraption that they use to check that the size and weight of your bag is within the limits, as long as I didn't have it filled too full, I could squish it and make it work. Even though this is a carry-on bag, I've also been able to fit it under the seat in front of me on the airplanes as well. It's just really squishable. It's the thinnest of all these options. So let's go ahead and put the same items in here that I had packed into the Osprey. If I was going to use this bag, I would need to add some sort of padded laptop sleeve onto my laptop. I don't have one. I probably should get one because this pocket on the inside that I'm putting this into, there's no padding in it. This is a waterproof material inside, so it doubles great as a beach bag, but no padding here. So right now this has everything in it from the first example, the rolling suitcase. So packed up with all these original items, it's weighing in at 4.80 kilograms. I'm going to add in the same items I added into the Osprey backpack. Now with those items added in, so it's the same as what was in the Osprey backpack, it would weigh 6.05 kilograms. So I've got about 1 kilogram left I could add. Just for example here, I would add in another bra that's a little bit thicker, heavier, so I left it out of my original packing. I also have a really thin, lightweight merino wool cardigan that I like when I don't want to wear the bulky, thicker sweater that I wear on the airplane. So this is just good for an everyday, especially if I'm wearing my sleeveless dress. I might want to throw that on if I get a little cooler. And I've got some cashews packed up in this stasher bag. I think technically AirAsia does not allow us to bring outside food on board the plane, but maybe I'd sneak that in at the bottom where they're not going to see it. Now packed up with those extras, the total weight is 6.65 kilograms. So we're just a little bit under that 7 kilo limit. This is heavy. When I try to put this bag on my shoulder, that's more than I would like to be having to carry through the airport. I suppose if I had this and my husband was using the rolling suitcase, then I could use the trolley sleeve to slide it on. But again, the rolling suitcase is just not really worth it for traveling carry-on only. Now that we've seen what I could pack within the size and weight restrictions, let's take a look at the things I'd have to be leaving out. The laundry kit of essentials for washing our clothes and also our dishes that I like to use when staying in an Airbnb apartment rental. My kit of wool wash, that's for washing both our wool clothing and also my baby's wool diaper covers. My bag of makeup I would not be able to bring. This compression packing cube has both my jacket and my husband's lightweight jacket for if we go somewhere cooler, and our extra supplies of toiletries so that we can have the specific ones we like while we're traveling long term. None of these items would be able to fit within the weight restrictions for carry-on only items. Our Christmas stockings wouldn't either. These are the items I like to pack. My husband also brings the kitchen items, so none of those would be coming either. There was one point on our last long-term travels that I was really wishing our family could travel carry-on only. Hey, we're minimalists, and it's so popular these days that I broke the belongings we had with us on our travels at the time into categories. I weighed them. Our toiletries was weighing 11 pounds, our family's clothes 25 pounds. I broke down each category to see would this be realistic. I realized we would need super lightweight bags, and we would have to completely get rid of some of the categories, like all of the kids' toys. So for us, as a family traveling long term, it's just not realistic. We'll stick with checking in some luggage and bringing some items on the airplane. Now for you, you may have a different traveling style. You may be going on a shorter trip. Maybe you don't even have kids. In that case, it may be possible. And yeah, there's full-time traveling families out there who are doing carry-on bags as well. It's just not our personal style. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that helps to explain why our family is not a carry-on only family when we travel. First of all, my husband's camera bag, it's overweight. Then I'd be having to pack his clothes and the baby's clothes. Is there anywhere for diapers? It just wouldn't quite work out for us. So yes, I am a minimalist. I probably own a lot less stuff than you do. I value traveling light. I value being able to move quickly from place to place. But I will be checking 4 bags as we head to Thailand. If you're interested in the requirements for entering the Phuket Sandbox, please be sure to subscribe. And if you just want tips in general, traveling with the family, join us here on Kencho Quest.